Hare Krishna. Nanvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to the class on Bhagavad-Gita, Bhakti-sastri. We'll chant the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Dijal Shalakaya Chaksharan Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudhapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesh Shanyavadi Paschatya Deshtarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratushe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Vancha kalpatarorvyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Namosute Vyasa Vishada Buddhe Fularvindayata Patra Netre Yena Dvaya Bharata Taila Puranaha Prajvadito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Tutta Vaitraikapanaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gita Amrita Duhe. Chapter 6 Dhyana Yoga. We are studying about the nature of mind and the need to control the mind. Arjuna told Krishna that it is very difficult to control the mind. He can control the wind, but he can't control the mind. That's what he confessed in front of Krishna. So Krishna told Arjuna, yes, it is true. The mind is very difficult to control, but it is not impossible, Arjuna. It is possible. And he said two things are required. One is a suitable practice is required, something that you need to put efforts in and do again and again. So suitable practice is required. And the other thing is detachment. So detachment is also needed. So then these two things will help one, suitable practice and detachment. That will help a person to control the mind. So having discussed this subject, now Arjuna is going to raise another question in front of Krishna. We are talking about the path of yoga. One who engages in yoga is called yogi. So Arjuna is saying that a person who is engaging in yoga, a yogi, he gives up so many things, material comfort, material sense gratification. And then he starts following a spiritual path. But what if he doesn't become successful in the spiritual endeavors he makes? Then that person may feel that that person could not be successful either materially nor spiritually. It's like, I could not get this also, I could not get that also. So that will lead to some kind of frustration, dissatisfaction, you know. So, what will be the destination of such an unsuccessful yogi? What will happen to that person? That's Arjuna's next query. Arjuna Uvacha Ayatihi Shraddhayopeto Yoga Aprapya Yoga Samsiddhing Kam Gatim Krishna Gacchati. So Arjuna is saying, O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism? Okay. So now let me ask you a question before we read the purport of this verse. I hope you are all in the class, both physically and mentally. So, destination of the unsuccessful yogi. The question is, what could be two major obstacles in mind control? We are trying to control the mind. So, what could be two major obstacles in controlling the mind, in your understanding? You also must have tried to control your mind. So, then you must have experienced some obstacles. So, what could be two major obstacles in controlling the mind?
Uh, Prabhuji, may I try?
Yes,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna Guru.
Prabhuji, one is attachment, worldly attachment, and second is determination on the path of spirituality.
What? Determination, less or more?
No, no, less determination, because if the determination
Less
is more, he will,
determination.
yeah.
So one, you said attachment and determination. Okay. Someone saying over anxiety and thinking, overthinking and anxiety. Sorry. Yes, Prabhuji, you wanted to say something.
Bhakti-sastri Prabhuji and less determination.
Materialism and less determination. Okay. Anything else comes
There
to
are
your mind?
internal factors as well as external factors. You explained it yesterday.
Okay. What are those internal and external factors?
Something which is related to material desires, fulfillment, with internal and external. When you think about your um, past and your plans, whereas the external is something related to diversion.
Okay. Diversion. Yeah. So, okay. Anything else? Some other opinion?
Prabhuji, may I?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, may I try?
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, it is inconsistency. We try to, focus of doing it and then we are not able to do it. Inconsistency. And other thing is our unfulfilled wishes.
Okay.
Probably also lack of 100% faith.
Lack of faith. Okay. And what else? So the answer is in this verse which Arjuna spoke to Krishna. Let's look at the Sanskrit. So there are two words. One is ayatihi and the next is chalita manasaha. So ayatihi means little effort. So Arjuna is saying because one has not put sufficient amount of effort, that is due to laziness. So one becomes lax, one becomes careless or callous in execution of one's prescribed duty. So not putting sufficient amount of effort, little effort. We should know one thing, nothing substantial can be achieved by putting less efforts. You have to put adequate amount of efforts in anything. Like, I don't know whether I should ask this question or not, but it's okay. Did any one of you smoke before? I mean, did you have this habit of smoking before?
Yes,
Anyone here?
I had Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji, I
You,
have. Prabhuji.
okay, you had smoking habit. So, one very interesting thing we can analyze in the whole activity of smoking. The first time you smoke, you don't like it,
Yes, Prabhuji.
correct? Because of the bad smell, you start coughing, isn't it? There is some bad sensation in the mouth area. You start coughing, and it's painful basically initially. huh? But then what you do, you you allow that pain to happen to you again and again, and then eventually you become used to that pain. Correct? That's what it happens, is it? That means in order to enjoy smoking, also you have to put efforts first. Otherwise, you can't enjoy smoking.
Right.
You have to first experience the pain. And after you have experienced the pain, now you become neutral to that pain. Now you can have some enjoyment in smoking. Same thing goes with drinking also. The first time someone will drink, it's going to be so obnoxious, right? But then once you get used to that stinky smell, then you start enjoying it. The point is, even to do the wrong thing properly, you have to put a lot of efforts and experience pain, something very ridiculous. So then to do the right thing without any pain, no gain. One has to put efforts. So one has to put efforts. Some people, they give up easily. We can't do so much. Okay, then don't do. But you'll not get the result anyway. If you think I'll not do it and I'll get the result, it's not going to happen either in this life or next 100 lives. It's not going to happen. Sometimes anything, even on spiritual path, if something is told to us, the first thing that our mind will say, oh, it's going to be so difficult. It's going to be very difficult for me. But it is always going to remain difficult if you don't put efforts. But if you start putting efforts, that same thing which is very difficult will eventually become normal, easy. So first is ayatihi, not putting sufficient amount of effort. That is the reason for failure. And then next is chalita manasaha. So chalita manasa means a distraction. So in order to control the mind or in order to be successful in any endeavor, we have to take care of these two things. We have to put sufficient amount of efforts and we have to stay away from distractions. But if one cannot do that, then what will happen? Failure. So one takes to spiritual life, not successful enough. Two reasons. What? Either did not put sufficient amount of effort or got distracted. Only two things. Fine. So that may happen with a yogi. And he's asking what will be the destination of such a yogi? What will happen? So this is very important that let's read the purport and then we'll also have some reflection on what here Arjuna is raising in front of Krishna as a doubt. Purport. The path of self-realization or mysticism is described in the Bhagavad-Gita. The basic principle of self-realization is knowledge that the living entity is not this material body, but that he is different from it, and that his happiness is in eternal life, bliss, and knowledge. These are transcendental, both beyond both body and mind. Self-realization is sought by the path of knowledge. So, knowledge is required very much. If we don't have knowledge, we will never become self-realized by the practice of the Eightfold System or by Bhakti Yoga. In each of these processes, one has to realize the constitutional position of the living entity, his relationship with God, uh, and the activities whereby he can re-establish the lost link and achieve the highest perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness. Following any of the above mentioned three methods, one is sure to reach the supreme goal sooner or later. This was asserted by the Lord in the second chapter. Even a little endeavor on the path, on the transcendental path, offers a great hope for deliverance. Out of these three methods, the path of Bhakti Yoga is especially suitable for this age because it is the most direct method of God realization. To be doubly assured, Arjuna is asking Lord Krishna to confirm his former statement. One may sincerely accept the path of self realization, but the process of cultivation of knowledge and the practice of the Eightfold Yoga system are generally very difficult for this age. Therefore, despite constant endeavor, one may fail for many reasons. This is a very important line. One may fail for many reasons even after constantly endeavoring on this path. Therefore, this path requires great determination. Hmm? Many times we come across devotees asking this question, right? I'm trying so hard, I'm trying since so long. Why am I not getting the required success? So the point is, the path is very difficult. Despite constant endeavor, one may fail. And then Srila Prabhupada explains the reasons for that. First reason, one may not be sufficiently serious about following the process. That is so true, right? One may not be sufficiently serious about following the process. So many people we come across in a practice of Krishna consciousness. I am in this society since now 18 years, half of my life, right? So 18 years I am in this society. And in these 18 years, so many people we have seen come and go. They come, they stay for some time, and they go. And then you don't see them anymore, or you see them after many, many years again, right? So people are not sufficiently serious. They just want to experiment for some time. So Prabhupada explains the to pursue the transcendental path is more or less to declare war on the illusory energy. It's a war. And this war has to be fought with intelligence. So if the intelligence is weak, we will lose. If the intelligence is strong, we will win. This is a war of buddhi or consciousness, chetana. It's not a physical war. So consequently, whenever a person tries to escape the clutches of the illusory energy, she tries to defeat the person by various allurements. Again, this is something which we can experience in our practice. Allurements will come. As a sadhaka, we will experience a lot of allurements in our life. So many types of allurements will come. And if someone is experiencing allurements, don't think that that person is not sincere. No, even if you are sincere, allurements will come. That is a test. Mhm. So allurements will be there. And a conditioned soul is already allured by the modes of material energy, and there is every chance of being allured again, even while performing transcendental disciplines. That means any day, any time, Maya Devi can knock on our door. Hello, I have not seen you since long. How are you doing? Hmm? Do you remember those old days when we were friends and we used to party together? Right? You used to listen to everything I would suggest, I would advise. You would admire, you would become so excited in my proposals, right? Everything I told you, you did. So, do you want to come back and have a joy ride with me? Maya Devi can anyway give us an invitation like that. It's possible. Huh? So, those allurements will come. Sometimes it happens. Whatever things we have given up, then Maya Devi, illusion energy of Krishna, tells us, oh, it's been so long. You are practicing this chanting of Hare Krishna and hanging out with these devotees. Why not go back and do something what you have already done before, just for a break? No smoking since 10 years. Just take a break for one day. Try once again. De-stress yourself. You're too stressed up chanting Hare Krishna. Right? So in this way, the illusionary energy of Krishna will will, will try to trick us. Yeah. Will always be there. So allurements will be there. And what will these allurements do? Chalita manasa will get distracted. So one has to put efforts, but even if you're putting efforts, distractions will come on our way, and we have to also away from that. Stay safe. You know, Chalita manasa. This is called yoga chalita manasa, deviation from the transcendental path. Arjuna is inquisitive to know the results of deviation from the path of self-realization. Okay, so Arjuna's question is very clear. So why does Maya try to defeat us if someone asks? Why Maya wants to defeat us or allure us? Why? Because she's our enemy, that's why.
No, I think it's because, especially the path of bhakti is quite, let's say, very, it provides a very powerful result. Like the Lord itself is, attracted to bhakti. So therefore, she tries to keep away those who are, who are not so sincere away from the path. Or
Okay, so she wants to keep insincere people away. That's why
yeah,
she to allure. Yeah, all right. And what else could be the reason for these allurements? What else could be the reason?
Is basically testing us, Prabhuji.
Yeah, testing us so that we fail.
Yeah, if we fail, then not right, no? That we should be very confident and we should keep our faith in God and
Very
not get
nice.
carried
We
away.
should be confident and we should keep our faith in God. That is true. But why any test is there? Why is there is a test for anyone?
To purify us, Prabhu.
Why is there a test? For
To,
you to have a proper evaluation of your own level of progress. That's why there is a test. Like we have given you some shlokas to memorize. Why there is a test? So that you can yourself understand how much you remember. That's why there is a test. It's an evaluation time, self-evaluation. So why there is a test by Maya? Because I may assume, yes, I become a pure self-realized soul. Now a test comes, I fail, and then suddenly I come to realize, no, I have not yet become successful. Means I have to put efforts again, I have to put more efforts. I was perhaps doing a mistake and I have to rectify that mistake, isn't it? So tests are there to tell you only about your own situation, how much you are making progress. And it's good actually. If there won't be tests, we would never know. We will just remain in illusion that yes, I chant very nicely, I am a very nice devotee, I am this, I am that. Hmm? So the test is required. And when the test will be there, the result will prove itself where we are situated. So in what always then Maya can set trap for us, having captive again.
Prabhu, I think it is like our previous samskars, like tests us with our previous uh, afflictions.
Yes,
Yeah.
very good. So the test that we will come across will always be the problems, challenges, obstacles, difficulties that we have been already facing before. So the things that you are trying to escape, those same things will come again and again in front of you, and that will be your test. The same thing which maybe sometimes horrifies you, frightens you, scares the life out of you, that same thing will be put by Maya in front of you again and again. which means Maya will expose. Maya will expose our weaknesses in front of us. And the test is what? If you pass, you are successful. If you don't pass, that means you have not overcome the battle. You have not won over the battle yet. You have to still continue to fight. Therefore, these tests are there. And we should know that Maya will use the same traps that she has been using before also. It will be the same always because she knows how to entrap us. The same method will be used. So that's how one has to be careful about those things. Then one can protect oneself from chalita manasa, which means getting distracted. Very important. So how do we get distracted? There is a pattern of that also. And if you can understand that pattern, so as soon as a distraction begins, you can check yourself. There is a pattern of getting distracted as well. So you can check yourself as soon as you start getting distracted. Hmm. Right? We should know that it's all about sanskars. So just like I give this example, very simple example to understand. If you've been to a village, or let's say an agricultural farmland, then you must have seen that sometimes during rainy season there's plantation everywhere, vegetation everywhere. But people have to move from one place to another place, so they walk on a path. And just because they walk on that path again and again to and fro, all the vegetation from that path dies, and then there is a track to follow. So they don't make that. They just walk on that path again and again, and once few people walk on it, then the other who are coming in that area, they will also walk on the same path, right? You must have seen this. So then there is that path. Now, if you happen to reach that area, what will you do? Make a new path or use the same path which is already there? Same path.
Same
Obvious.
path.
It's going to be easy, correct? So similarly, just like there are paths like this on the field, there are paths in our brain, in our neurological system, and those are called neuron paths or thinking patterns. You know. So whenever we come across a problem, there is a certain way that we think. Why? Because we're conditioned to think like that. Right? You will think in a certain way, I will think in a certain same problem, same situation. You will think in a different way, I'll think in a different way. And you are going to always think like that only in that situation. And I'm also going to always think like that only in that situation. Why? Because there is a path that is already formed in my subtle mind, you know, right? So this is like a kind of programming, conditioning. And we have to learn to overcome that conditioning. Is very important. Therefore, whenever let's say I have a habit of becoming too negative in certain situations, then I have to teach myself to not become that negative in those situations. That is you can say, deprogramming. If I have a habit of becoming too excited in some situations, I have to train myself to not become that excited in those situations. That is a deprogramming. You know. If I have a habit of thinking in a particular way about some particular people, even though I know that thinking is wrong, then I have to do the opposite of it to do the deprogramming. So this is something which will come by introspection, self-analysis, how we think, how we see the world around us. So the Maya Devi, the energy of Krishna, knows very well our weaknesses. So then she sets those traps only again and again, again and again. Fine. So I'll now give you an exercise. something that I've been working on and I found it very helpful. Okay. When you get up in the morning from your sleep, you should know that this is your, you can say, natural state. When you get up in the morning, you're fresh, right? You had a sleep now. So when you slept, that means you died in one sense. So when you got up in the morning, it is a fresh awake, fresh beginning. Hmm? So you now what is going to happen throughout the day that has not yet happened? What is going to happen throughout the day that is going to change your state of mind? So when you uh, wake up, there's a certain kind of mental situation, the way you are feeling. You're feeling very frustrated, you're feeling very excited, you're feeling very pessimistic, you're feeling very dejected. There's a certain kind of feeling. Hmm? You start chanting the holy name, and suddenly what will happen? All those negativities that you have in you as a person, which is your conditioning, will start coming out. In the sense, you will feel that energy in you, that impurity, that thing which pulls you down, you know. But if you continue to chant the holy name with attention, prayerful mood, what will the holy name do is very soon after you have chanted 5 rounds, 6 rounds, 8 rounds properly, the holy name will change your mind and it will bring your mind from that conditioned state to an elevated state. It will happen and you can try it every day. You know, it will happen. That you chant that 6, 8, 10 rounds, and the mind will immediately, the holy name will immediately uplift you from your conditioned way of thinking to an elevated state of thinking. You know. But the interesting thing is that though you will get elevated throughout the day, again, you are going to have so many experiences. And the next day, when you get up, you will be again in that same conditioned state which was there previous day. Same thing will be there. But then you again chant the holy name, and the holy name will uplift you. You know. And you try it out for a week, you do this, 15 days, you do it, you will experience the same thing. You know. So we have a certain way of thinking, which is a conditioned way of thinking. And when we chant the holy name, we hear the scriptures, we read the scriptures, we do some spiritual activity, satsanga, we get elevated in our thinking. But the problem is we don't stay there. From there, we come down again. You know, we come down again. And then we have to again uplift ourselves. So this is something which we can try as an exercise. All right, let's go to the next verse, 38. कच्चिन्नो भयविभ्रष्टस् छिन्नाभ्रम इव नश्यति अप्रतिष्ठो महाबाहो विमूढ़ो ब्रह्मणः पथि. O mighty armed Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a riven cloud with no position in any sphere? So this is a very common fear of anyone practicing spiritual life, especially when someone is planning to give up some of the material side of their life. Then they have this fear, what if I don't become spiritually also successful? I'll be neither having material things nor I'll have spiritual asset. So it's like a lose-lose situation for me. So it's nice saying same thing, for a yogi, left everything and then after that becomes unsuccessful. So he gives the example of a riven cloud. What is a riven cloud? A small cloud which has broken apart from a bigger cloud. That's a riven cloud. Hmm? So what happens to that small piece of cloud? What happens to that small cloud? Can it pour out rain? It cannot because it doesn't have sufficient water. So what will happen to it? Very soon
Merges.
huh?
Merges.
No, it doesn't merge also. What happens to a ribbon cloud? Very soon the sun rays is going to evaporate that ribbon cloud. So it's going to be destroyed. The sun is going to burn that cloud. That means it loses its existence. So Arjuna is saying, will not that same thing happen to a person who is an unsuccessful yogi? That's his question, concern, purport. Let's read the purport, Sharda Mataji.
There are two ways to progress. Those who are materialists have no interest in transcendence. Therefore, they are more interested in material advancement by economic development or in the promotion to the higher planets by appropriate work. When one takes to the path of transcendence, one has to create all material activities and sacrifice all forms of so called happiness. If the aspiring transcendentalist fails, then he apparently loses both ways. In other words, he can enjoy neither material happiness nor spiritual success. He has no position. He is like a riven cloud. A cloud in the sky sometimes deviates from a small cloud and joins a big one. But if he cannot join a big one, then it is blown away by the wind and becomes a non-entity in the vast sky. The Brahmana Pati is the path of transcendental realization through knowing oneself to be spiritual in essence, part and a parcel of the Supreme Lord, who is manifested as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Lord Sri Krishna is the fullest manifestation of the Supreme Absolute Truth. And therefore, one who is surrendered to the Supreme Person is a successful transcendentalist. To reach this goal of life through Brahman and Paramatma realization takes many, many births. Bahunam Janmanamante. Therefore, the supermost path of the transcendental realization is Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness, the direct method.
Thank you. Next verse. एतन्मे संशयं कृष्ण चेतुमर्हस्य शेषतः त्वदन्यः संशयस्यास्य चेता न हि उपपद्यते. This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. Only you can remove my doubt, basically. He's saying that. Purport, Sankarshan Vishnu Prabhu.
Dhanavad Pranam Prabhuji. But Krishna is the perfect knower of past, present, and future. In the beginning of Bhagavad-Gita, the Lord said that all living entities existed individually in the past. They exist now in the present, and they continue to retain individual identity in the future, even after liberation from the material entanglement. So, he has already cleared up the question of future of an individual entity. Now, Arjun wants to know of the future of the unsuccessful transcendentalist. No one is equal to or above Krishna, and certainly the so-called great sages and philosophers who are at the mercy of material nature cannot equal him. Therefore, the verdict of Krishna is the final and complete answer of all doubts because he knows past, present, and future perfectly. But no one knows him. Krishna and Krishna conscious devotees alone can know what is what. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Next verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Partha Naiveha Namutra Vinashastasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Krit Kaschid Durgatim Data Gachati. So it's a very nice verse, very motivating. Krishna is saying here that anyone who is endeavoring on the right path and is doing the right thing, he should not fear uh, destruction or failure. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Son of Pritha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. So, nahi kalyana krit kasit durgatim data gachati. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. So, this is being emphasized that no matter how many difficulties you face on the right path, being righteous in your dharma, in your duties, fulfillment of your duties, you should still continue to do the right thing. Why? Because one who is on that path, the right path, will not be overcome by evil. So this is something which we have also heard since our childhood from our superiors, that no matter how much people do wrong, you should not be on the wrong side. You should not do the wrong thing. Don't get influenced by them and choose the wrong thing. You should stick to doing the right thing. Because having faith that one who does good will not be overcome by evil. Eventually, it's going to come in your favor only, right? Just like the Pandavas. They were wronged in so many ways by the Kauravas, but they remain stuck to their dharma. And eventually, what happened? They became victorious. So, this is how one has to live one's life also. Stick to the right always, keeping faith that will be eventually uplifting us, benefiting us, liberating us. So this is very nice verse. Krishna is saying, why are you so afraid? You should know if a person is a yogi trying to live life in a proper way, even if that person does not become successful, still that endeavor did not go in vain. It was not a waste. It was not a waste, right? Prabhupada will explain this in the purport very nicely. Long purport is there. He'll explain. Let's read the purport. Ritwija Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Purport in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.17, Sri Narada Muni instructs Vyasadeva as follows: Yaktva swadharmam charanam bhujam harer bhajan apakvota pate tato yadi yatra bhadram abhut amusya kim kovarta abdo bhajatam swadharmataha. If someone gives up all material prospects and takes complete shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no loss or degradation in any way. On the other hand, a non-devotee may fully engage in his occupational duties and yet not gain anything. For material prospects, there are many activities, both scriptural and customary. The transcendentalist is supposed to give up all material activities for the sake of spiritual advancement in life, Krishna consciousness. One may argue that by Krishna consciousness, one may attain the highest perfection if it is completed, but if one does not attain such a perfectional state, then he loses both materially and spiritually. It is enjoined in the scriptures that one has to suffer the reaction for not executing prescribed duties. Therefore, one who fails to discharge transcendental activities properly becomes subjected to these reactions. The Bhagavatam assures the unsuccessful transcendentalist that there need be no worries. Even though he may be subjected to the reaction for not perfectly executing prescribed duties, he is still not a loser because auspicious Krishna consciousness is never forgotten. And one so engaged will continue to be so even if he is low born in the next life. On the other hand, one who simply follows strictly the prescribed duties need not necessarily attain auspicious results if he is lacking in Krishna consciousness. The purport may be understood as follows. Humanity may be divided into two sections, namely the regulated and the non-regulated. Those who are engaged simply in bestial sense gratifications without knowledge of their next life or spiritual salvation belong to the non-regulated section. And those who follow the principles of prescribed duties in the scriptures are classified amongst the regulated section. The non-regulated section, both civilized and non-civilized, educated and non-educated, strong and weak, are full of animal propensities. Their activities are never auspicious because while enjoying the animal propensities of eating, sleeping, depending, and mating, they perpetually remain in material existence, which is always miserable. On the other hand, Those who are regulated by scriptural injunctions and who thus rise gradually to Krishna consciousness certainly progress in life. Those who are following the path of unauspiciousness can be divided into three sections, namely, the followers of scriptural rules and regulations who are enjoying material prosperity, those who are trying to find ultimate liberation from material existence, and those who are devotees in Krishna consciousness. Those who are following the rules and regulations of the scriptures for material happiness may be further divided into two classes, those who are fruitive workers and those who desire no fruit for sense gratification. Those who are after fruitive results for sense gratification may be elevated to a higher standard of life, even to the higher planets, but still, because they are not free from material existence, they are not following the truly auspicious path. The only auspicious activities are those which lead one to liberation. Any activity which is not aimed at ultimate self-realization or liberation from the material bodily concept of life is not at all auspicious. Activity in Krishna consciousness is the only auspicious activity, and anyone who voluntarily accepts all bodily discomforts for the sake of making progress on the path of Krishna consciousness can be called a perfect transcendentalist under severe austerity. And because the Eightfold Yoga system is directed toward the ultimate realization of Krishna consciousness, such practice is also auspicious, and no one who is trying his best in this matter need fear degradation. Thank you.
Yes. So Srila Prabhupada is giving us hope that if we take to Krishna consciousness, and even let's say we are not successful, there is no loss. This is our eternal gain. Then he explains how it's so rare to come to this path and to take to this practice. What is explaining, we can show it through a chart. So let's say humanity, which is at present around 8 billion or little more than that, you know, can be divided into two classes. One is the non-regulated class and the other is the regulated class. Fine. So non-regulated means what? Engaged simply in bestial sense gratification without knowledge of the next life or spiritual salvation. And most of the humans on the planet are in this category. Hmm? Regulated are who? Those who follow the principles of prescribed duties in the scriptures. Very small portion of human beings are in this category. Correct? Then those who are non-regulated, they are again of three types, or you can say they have these three characteristics. They can be both civilized and uncivilized. There are uncivilized non-regulated and there are civilized non-regulated. Hmm? Then there are educated and non-educated non-regulated. And there are strong and weak non-regulated. In the material world, most of the time, people are fighting with each other. So that's because they are belonging to this category. The weak non-regulated is fighting with the strong non-regulated. Like that, it's going on. So these are full of animal propensities. That's how you identify them. That they are only interested in four things: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Right? So that's animal life. Next is regulated, where human life actually begins. So they are of three types: karmis, jnanis, and bhaktas. Karmis are who? They are followers of scriptural rules and regulations for enjoying material prosperity. That means they follow dharma, but for the sake of material upliftment, material gain. Jnanis, they follow scriptures to escape material life, freedom from material existence, basically freedom from material problems. And then devotees in Krishna consciousness are the bhaktas. So in regulated also, most of the people are karmis. Very few among them are jnanis, and very few among them are bhaktas. Right? These karmis can also be of two categories. We have heard these terms before: sakam and nishkam. Sakama are those who desire fruitive results, and Nishkama are those who not desire any fruit result. So that's what is explained here. Lesson is protect dharma by executing it. Dharma will then protect you from evil. This is a lesson from Mahabharata. In Mahabharata, this question was asked: what protects Yudhishthir and his four brothers always? Every time they are into danger, it looks like they cannot cross that danger, and still they win, till they overcome that situation. It's like miraculously they just come out of it. So, what protects them? This question was asked. So, the reply given was three things are always protecting them. What are those three things? Hari, Bhagwan, Krishna, always protecting them. Hari is protecting them, and then the sadhus, the Vaishnavas, because they were always on the right path, so they got immense blessings from everyone. So those blessings always protect them. And the third thing is dharma. Dharma is personally protecting them. And then why dharma is protecting them? So the answer was because they are protecting dharma by applying dharma. So dharma is protecting them. So this point is given here also, right? Okay. Next verse 41. प्राप्य पुण्यकृतां लोकान् उषित्वा शाश्वती समाः शुचिनां श्रीमताङ्गेः योगभ्रष्टो विजायते. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Neha Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. The unsuccessful yogis are divided into two classes. One is fallen after very little progress, and one is fallen after long practice of yoga. The yogi who falls after a short period of practice goes to the higher planets, where pious living entities are allowed to enter. After prolonged life there, one is sent back again to this planet to take birth in the family of a righteous Brahmana Vaishnava or of aristocratic merchants. The real purpose of yoga practice is to achieve the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness, as explained in the last verse of this chapter. But those who do not persevere to such an extent and who fail because of material allurements are allowed by the grace of the Lord to make full utilization of their material propensities. And after that, they are given opportunities to live prosperous lives in righteous or aristocratic families. Those who are born in such families may take advantage of the facilities and try to elevate themselves to full Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Next verse. Athava
Hare Krishna
yoginameva.
Prabhuji, I
Sorry.
have a question. Can I ask?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, in the previous verse, it sounded like people who are born in the aristocratic or sort of well-to-do families is like some kind of a bonus that they got, right? For their doing the righteous activities. But if you see in real life, a lot of times people or kids who are born in those families are more inclined to not succeed in that path. In fact, they're more spoiled and they are usually a little bit more bratish, right? So, isn't that counterproductive?
Then it's whose fault?
Of course, that individual's fault. I'm just asking because it said that the person is born into that family so that he or she will get into the Krishna consciousness. But
So
it
that
tends to be
is
the
true.
opposite usually.
It happens in that way because that person is misusing that opportunity. But actually, being born in a well-to-do family is a bonus. Actually, it's a bonus. It's a big bonus. Why it's a bonus? Because if you are born in a family where you have to struggle for every small thing, that sanskar gets very strongly ingrained in your chitta, you know. And because of which, many times that person cannot take to devotional service. So I'll explain this way to you. There are many people here in this world who had a lot of struggles in life, right? And because they did struggle so much, whatever they have attained, they're too attached to it. They also cannot take to Krishna consciousness. Why? Because what they have gotten after so much of hard work, it's very difficult for them to get separated from it. At least the ego part, to disconnect from it. So, therefore, to be born in a situation where things are available to you not by putting too much of hard work, it allows you to keep your mind somewhere else, you know. But the problem is that people get distracted. But it's actually a very favorable situation. Therefore, we should know one thing. Bhakti cannot be done by someone who is either too miserable in life or someone who is too much in illusion because of so much of comfort and external pleasure. You need to have a balanced thing, that is required. So Krishna putting them in a rich family means they will get their food easily, their shelter, food, clothing, education, all that will come easily. So they don't have to worry so much about it. And they can spend the free time in thinking of a higher subject matter. Now, most of the
So is
people
it also
out there, why they are complaining, they cannot take to Krishna consciousness. Why they are complaining? They say we want to, but we don't have time. Why no time? Because I'm struggling just to pay my rent, struggling just to pay my bills, struggling just to cope up with my education, with my future career, isn't it? So someone who's born in a wealthy family, that problem is not there. So that is an opportunity. Now if someone misuses that opportunity, that's a misfortune. That is that person, then you call that person as durbhagi. Durbhagi means you got a chance but you misused it, so you're unfortunate.
Prabhuji, to some extent, is that the also the parents' fault, or can it that be considered only as that person's particular bhagya, right? Like kids
one
from
thing
our
is
own families who are unable to follow or not following.
one thing is there. At the end, you can tell this is parents' fault, this is X fault, this is Y's fault. But whosever fault might be there, it cannot be more than your own personal fault. You know, Prahlad was also born in a Daitya family, right? He was born in a Daitya family, so he could substantiate his thinking like a demon, but he never thought like a demon. So at the end, it's my individual choice. Those parameters will be there and those parameters will definitely affect us. But at the end, it depends on you as an individual. Hmm. Even if the parents, they want the child to be always on the right path, choose the right path, it doesn't always happen like that. Even then, the child goes astray. Of course, parents' duty is to keep the child on the right track. As a parent, my duty should be that I should not unnecessarily spoil the child, even if we are rich or wealthy. The parent should teach the child the importance of, working hard and valuing the wealth you have, not misusing the wealth and all that. But at the end, it's all about one individual, how that individual makes decisions.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, what if a handicapped child is born?
Whose karma?
Child's karma, parents' karma.
Child's and parents both.
Right.
Child and parents both.
Prabhuji, in the previous purport, it's given like, there is no loss or gain when one, regarding when one practices or do some mistakes in spiritual progress. But the thing is, like, there are certain things like, suppose Vaishnava Aparad or offenses to the chanting. These doesn't come, like, who doesn't follow, right? These are additional bad karma, like one creates on their own. So, how does that play here?
Yeah, it is true. So when one is doing, let's say, aparad, so what will be the result of aparad? The result of aparad will be that the benefit you were supposed to get, you will not get. That's the result of aparad. And what is that benefit? That benefit is Krishna Prem. One will not get that. But still, by chanting the holy name offensively is also quite beneficial. If we do non-offensive chanting, it gives us love of Krishna. But if you do offensive chanting, that offensive chanting also gives a lot of benefits. So any of the practice of the bhakti, even if it's improperly done, it is beneficial only. It may be less beneficial, but you can't say it has no benefit at all. So someone is chanting offensively, that's okay. That's better than a normal person who is not chanting. But it is not okay compared to someone who is chanting without offenses. But even to chant name offensively it's acceptable and it's good only to chant, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur, what does he say? If you are chanting with offenses, how can you become pure chanter? He says you chant more. So he doesn't say you stop chanting. He says you chant more. Means keep on doing it. So that problem is there, but at the same time, you should know that there's no loss in that path. What does aparadh do? Aparadh basically covers your sentiments of devotion. That's all for some time. But after some time, when it's like a cloud comes and it covers my vision of the sun. But after some time, the cloud goes away also, right? So aparadh, what it does, you were having some realization of Krishna, because you could see some in some form, in some way, in some percentage, you are seeing Krishna. Seeing Krishna here means realizing Krishna. You do an aparadh, so suddenly there will be a cloud. Means what you were experiencing, you will not experience anymore. But then, if I continue to chant, practice, and all that, then that cloud will get removed also. It's not something which is permanent, no? Eternally there. So what I have gained will be with me in future also. It's not going to be lost. For some time, you can say, I am not allowed to have an access to it. That is aparadh. Yes. So fine. So we discussed about this rich family and all that. But better than that is what? So there it was explained. If the yogi quits or dies after doing short practice. But if the yogi dies after long practice, then that person will not be born in a rich family or or a knowledgeable family. That person will be born in a different family. अथवा योगिनामेव कुले भवति धीमताम् एतद्धि दुर्लभतरम लोके जन्म यत ईदृशम. Or if unsuccessful after long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly such a birth is rare in this world. So this is the best, that that person will be born in the family of a yogi or a bhakta. And that is the best birth. So better than being born in a rich family, birth in a Vaishnava family or a yogi family is better. But how will that happen? Only after long practice of yoga. If one dies, then purport. Yes, Tulasi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu pranams. Birth in a family of yogis or transcendentalists, those with great wisdom, is praised herein because the child born in such a family receives a spiritual impetus from the very beginning of his life. It is especially the case of the Acharya or Goswami families. Such families are very learned and devoted by tradition and training, and thus they become spiritual masters. In India, there are many such Acharya families, but they have now degenerated due to insufficient education and training. By the grace of the Lord, there are still families that foster transcendentalists generation after generation. It is certainly very fortunate to take birth in such families. Fortunately, both our spiritual master, Om Vishnupada Sri Srimat Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, and our humble self had the opportunity to take birth in such families by the grace of the Lord, and both of us were trained in the devotional service of the Lord from the very beginning of our lives. Later on, we met by the order of the transcendental system. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
So this is a table showing what we have read in these two verses. If the yogi is unsuccessful and the progress made is less, then they will be first transition to a higher planet. And from that higher planet, that person will be born in a Suchinam, learned Brahmin family, or Srimatam, a wealthy pious family, pious merchant's family, right? And if the person dies after long practice, then there is no transition to heavenly planet. Then the person is directly born in human family, human birth is obtained. And that will be either in the family of a yogi or family of a devotee. Dhimata means yoga teacher. So you can say that's what yogis, yoga practitioner, yoga teacher, or devotee, all that.
Prabhuji, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I don't know if it is appropriate, but I like it's a Google knowledge. I don't know personally, but Srila Prabhupada is obviously our founder Acharya, but his family, his kids, none of them took into this, right? And if it is a it's if it's a bonus or it is a plus to be able to be born into his family, how come none of them took into consciousness?
They took to Krishna consciousness. It's not that they did not. Some of his children were devotees, not all, but some were. But they did not practice Krishna consciousness the way Prabhupada taught. But some of them did become devotees, right? And yes, it was a bonus for them to be born in Srila Prabhupada's family. But at the same time, we are born in a family because of our past karma. After we are born in that family, then how do we use that situation? It's again a free will, right? So one can be born in a very good family and still misuse that opportunity. That is always there. I mean, that things keep on happening, such things. So such things happen to teach us a lesson. That's all. Everywhere we can see a positive lesson to learn. That, okay, if you are so fortunate, so blessed, then don't misuse that fortune. So they were very fortunate to be born with, in Prabhupada's family, as Prabhupada's kids. But they did not sufficiently utilize, maybe. Yes, so that's a lesson to learn. Let's not do the same in our case, isn't it? So it's an individual choice. But that opportunity is itself a favorable opportunity. Anukul paristhiti. Now it all depends on you. Something you might be put in the best of favorable situations, and you may make a complete mess out of it. And you might be put in a very unfavorable situation, and you may make wonders out of it. That's now your individual thing. How do you utilize it? Isn't it? So the lesson for each one of us should be, regardless of being in an unfavorable situation or a favorable situation, you should know the art of getting favorable things out of it. Because whether you are in favorable situation, unfavorable situation, that is not in your hand. That is being given to you. But whatever your situation is, now how do you use that? That is in your hand, isn't it? So that is an individual's choice, and that's what makes people, you can say, some people victorious and some people losers.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. Again, I'm not trying to question or debate it. It was just a doubt because of the purport.
Yeah, I understand. But then that's what we are thinking only from one angle. No, we're not thinking from the other angle. If you think from just one angle, then you will see, okay, that's not an opportunity. But an opportunity is made an opportunity by your attitude, isn't it? If you are put in such a situation and then you lose the opportunity, then you can't blame the situation. Isn't it? So Krishna here is saying that person will be put in a favorable situation. Now, you may have examples of people who might not have used that situation properly, but there are examples of people who have used that situation properly also. It's not that, okay, everyone born in a rich family misuses the situation, that opportunity only. No, there are people born in very wealthy families and they perfectly utilize that opportunity. Let's take an example. Srila Prabhupada's disciple, Amrish Prabhu, born in a very wealthy family, right? Great grandson of Henry Ford, filthy rich. But did he misuse his fortune? No. He perfectly utilized that fortune, isn't it? So such examples are also there. Bhakti Siddhanta, born in the family of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, perfectly utilized his situation. So that is there. So at the end, it's individual's choice. But Krishna is saying, yes, you will be given an favorable environment. Okay, so next verse. We go to next verse, which is 43. Tatratang buddhi sanyogam labate paurvadehikam yatate cha tato bhuyah samsiddho kurunandana. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Kuru. So now, once that person is born again, that person will resume from where that person stopped in the previous life. That will happen. Example is given of King Bharata. Sharada Mataji.
King Bharat, who took his third birth in the family of a good Brahmana, is an example of good birth for the revival of previous transcendental consciousness. King Bharata was the emperor of the world, and since his time, this planet has been known as among the demigods as Bharata Varsha. Formerly, it was known as Ilavrita Varsha. The emperor, at an early age, retired from spiritual perfection, but failed to retired for spiritual perfection, but failed to achieve success. In his next life, he took birth in the family of a good Brahmana and was known as Jada Bharat because he always remained secluded and did not talk to anyone. And later on, he was discovered as the greatest transcendentalist by King Rahugana. From his life, it is understood that transcendental endeavors or the practice of yoga never go in vain. By the grace of the Lord, the transcendentalist gets repeated opportunities for complete perfection in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Yes, so this opportunity should be seen as a mercy. Sometimes we may question, what's the big deal if one is getting the opportunity? But that opportunity is itself a great mercy of Krishna, because if you don't get the opportunity, how will you ever take to it? There are so many people in this world, they are born, they live for 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years, and they die, and they don't even come to know Krishna is Bhagavan. There are people like that in this world. So even to get an opportunity is a big thing, because if one doesn't get opportunity, then you can't ever be benefited. So Krishna is saying such a person will get the opportunity again and again, and that is Krishna's mercy to that person. Otherwise, one will be lost forever. Like sometimes I think like this. Once when I went to Saudi Arabia, for the first time I went there. So an Indian family invited us, and we were just trying to know something about the culture in that country and the laws and the social system. So they told us that even now, though it may not be so strict, but earlier it was very strict, that if a woman, a Muslim woman, she gets married to a man in Saudi Arabia, she cannot leave the country without her husband's permission. That means if she tries to fly out of the country, if the husband calls and tells that she cannot fly, they will not let her out. So when I heard this, immediately this verse came to my mind where Lord Krishna says that people who have lived their life in a demoniac way, Krishna doesn't give them chance to come out of that situation. Living in a country like that and being a part of such a culture is almost like living a hellish life, actually. It is a hellish life. Externally, okay, they may be filthy, rich, and all that, but the kind of setup is there. It is actually very hellish. So, that person can understand the importance of an opportunity, that how valuable an opportunity is. Right? So here it is said, yes, you get that opportunity again and again, that means you are fortunate. If you don't get the opportunity, your whole life will just finish like, and you have to live a miserable life. So it's like this, so that is beneficial. If you practice to some extent, Okay, next time again we'll get a chance. That's the benefit. Next, Purvabhyasena.
Sorry, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. I
Yeah.
have a question. Can I ask, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Yeah, a couple of questions, Prabhuji. One, and that just taking the previous conversation you told, right? People not utilizing their opportunity of in this life. So people being born in a better families, right? Transcendental or rich and all that. They got the birth because of their good pious activities from the previous life. So, and in this verse, it is mentioned they have the opportunity to revive the divine consciousness of his previous life. So that samskara is there, right? How people lose it so easily? First question.
Distraction.
And distraction, is it? Is it so early the distraction starts that we don't get off the hook only? So all the hard work that we put in this life to achieve something, we may not
They did
end
not,
up.
but they were not 100% successful, no?
Yes, yes, that's what I'm telling. Even if
If
like we
they're
are not
50%
100%.
successful, you're 50% successful. So you're definitely carrying that 50% with you.
Hmm.
But then the chance to get distracted is always there.
Hmm. Okay, so
Like Bharat Maharaj. He became so advanced, but still he got distracted.
okay. So the probability if we are somewhere in the 80-90%, then probably the distraction ability would be much lesser in the next life. Is that something?
Distraction probability is not in your hand.
Okay.
Distractions can be more also.
Hmm.
Because the distractions are the nature of this material world. It's not something which is, okay, it's happening with me only. That's the nature of this place. So if you are in a place which is made like that, how can you expect something else out of it?
Okay. Okay, so
Please
that's
try to
understand.
understand. Please try to
Yeah.
understand. It's not that, okay, for me, distractions will be less and for him, distractions will be more. It's not like that. Distractions are always going to be there because you're in that place. So if I'm in a place which is, if I'm in a coal mine, what will I get? Coal, nothing else. So what is the nature of this material world? It is flickering in nature. It is transient. So distractions will always be here. You can't say, okay, for me, the distractions are more. For a sadhu who is very advanced, the distractions are less. Distractions are there equally for them also, for us also. It's just that they don't get distracted, we get distracted.
And the second question I had, Prabhuji, is I know it's there in the scriptures mentioned, but how it is determined, or how do they know that in their previous life they were this, next life they are this, and that kind of a thing is.
Some people, not everyone.
Yeah, many times we see examples like in their previous life they were
Common
so and so.
examples.
Okay.
You know, just few examples. You can count them on the finger. So only few people remember their past life. Exactly. Not everyone remembers.
Okay. So only those examples are provided. That's it. Okay.
Some people remember, that comes as a blessing. So they remember. Okay. Most of the people they forget.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
So they don't remember. Some people remember, and that is, you can say, Krishna's favor on them. That you remember this will be beneficial for you. Some people. In scriptures, you find very few examples. Bharat Maharaj, Narad Muni, few examples who remember their past life. We were so and so, and then we became this. Not everyone.
All the gopis or manjaris, all these acharyas were
These
also.
manjaris, they are not having one material birth and moving to next material birth. They are not like that,
Oh,
right?
that is transcendental platform
They
only.
are transcendental only.
Okay.
That is a different case you are taking.
Okay. Those are different. Okay.
You have to differentiate between conditioned soul and liberated soul. Liberated soul means like Krishna. So you can't say, how can Krishna remember his past? Krishna is never taking birth in a material sense. So why should he forget? He will remember everything of the past. Similarly, those who are liberated souls, that's a different case. Conditioned souls is a different case.
So all Goswamis, most of them and all are all in the transcendental platform.
They are all eternally liberated.
Okay.
They are not ordinary practitioners. So yeah, others also are transcendentalists who are practicing and then taking birth again to complete the remaining part of the journey. They may not remember who they were in the past life, but they will have those sanskars, which means those characteristics continuing in the next life. That will be there. Okay. Next verse. Purvabhyasena तेनैव ह्रियते ह्यवशोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्मातिवर्तते. By virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles, even without seeking them. So, they don't search for those things, but they naturally become attracted to those things. So one is a seeker and the other person is naturally drawn towards it. There's a difference. Seeker means someone who is like curious, inquisitive. And someone drawn naturally is because that person has already experienced in the previous life. So those people are naturally attracted to yogic principles. Without anyone teaching them, they follow many things. They'll follow those things without anyone teaching them because it's coming to them from their past life. Like very easy example. There can be so many examples, but something which you can very graphically see is in the life of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. He was naturally drawn to this kind of life, born in completely, you can say 180-degree opposite part of the world. And he was how naturally drawn to India and then the yogi's life, the journey he did. So that's natural attraction, something like that. It will be very strong from previous life. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. Yes, purport. Chanakya Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Advanced yogis are not very much attracted to the rituals of the scriptures, but they automatically become attracted to the yoga principles, which can elevate them to complete Krishna consciousness, the highest yoga perfection. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 3.33.7, such disregard of Vedic rituals by the advanced transcendentalists is explained as follows. Aho batashva pachot gariyan yajjihvagre vartate nama tubhyam te pustapaste juhuvu shashnurarya brahmanuchurnama grinanti ete. O my Lord, persons who chant the holy names of your Lordship are far, far advanced in spiritual life, even if born in families of dog eaters. Such chanters have undoubtedly performed all kinds of austerities and sacrifices, bathed in all sacred places, and finished all scriptural studies. The famous example of this was presented by Lord Chaitanya, who accepted Thakur Haridas as one of his most important disciples. Although Thakur Haridas happened to take his birth in a Muslim family, he was elevated to the post of Namacharya by Lord Chaitanya due to his rigidly attended principle of chanting 300,000 holy names of the Lord daily. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And because he chanted the holy name of the Lord constantly, it is understood that in his previous life he must have passed through all the ritualistic methods of the Vedas known as Shabdat Brahma. Unless, therefore, one is purified, one cannot take to the principles of Krishna consciousness or become engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Next. प्रयत्नाद्यतमानस्तु योगी संशुद्ध किल्बिषः अनेक जन्म संसिद्धस्ततो याति परां गतिम्. And when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all contaminations and ultimately achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. So the yogi takes many, many births. This yogi is Ashtanga yogi. Takes long time to become successful. Yes, a person born in a particularly righteous, aristocratic, or sacred family becomes conscious of his favorable condition for executing yoga practice. With determination, therefore, he begins his unfinished task and thus he completely cleanses himself of all material contaminations. When he is finally free from all contaminations, he attains the supreme perfection, Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is the perfect stage of being freed from all contaminations. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad-Gita 7.28. Yeshang tvantagatam papam jananang punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mang dridvrataha. After many, many births of executing pious activities, when one is completely freed from all contaminations and from all illusory dualities, one becomes engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Like Sri Lakshmi Mataji, when you were raising this point that people born in aristocratic families, sometimes they are just spoiled children and they don't take to spiritual life seriously, right? But then look at the examples of most of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada from America. They were born in rich families. Many of them, they belong to very rich families. Like His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj. Very rich families. And they were quite educated also, many of them. Isn't it? Interestingly, many of the Prabhupada disciples who are Indians, they have passed out from IITs. Many Prabhupada disciples who are Indians, coming from very educated background. Like you take the example, no? His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, double MBA, right? His Holiness Subhak Swami Maharaj, he was pursuing engineering in, I think, England or America. Then His Holiness Bhakti Sarup Damodar Maharaj, scientist, belonging to very learned family. So we see that it's not that, okay, in some case you may find it is not happening, but in other cases the examples are there. So many of them, right? Most of these Indians who met Srila Prabhupada, they all met Prabhupada outside India and became his disciples. So there, like that, there are examples. So many examples are there. So it all depends now on an individual how to use that opportunity. Tapasibhyo adhiko yogi jnanibhyopi matodhikah karmibhyaschadhiko yogi tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. A yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruitive worker. Therefore, Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. So Krishna is concluding here. He's saying, better than a karmi, jnani, tapasvi is the yogi. Next verse he'll say, better than a yogi is a bhakti. Conclusion reached. So that's the yoga ladder. Yes, let's read this purport. Sharadamati.
When we speak of yoga, we refer to linking our consciousness with the supreme absolute truth. Such a process is named differently by various practitioners in terms of the particular method adopted. When the linking process is predominantly in furtive activities, it is called karma yoga. When it is predominantly empirical, it is called jnana yoga. And when it is predominantly in devotional relationship with Supreme Lord, it is called bhakti yoga. Bhakti Yoga, Krishna consciousness, is the ultimate perfection of all yogas, as will be explained in the next verse. The Lord has confirmed herein the superiority of yoga, but he has not mentioned that it is better than Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is full of spiritual knowledge, and therefore nothing can excel it. Asceticism without self knowledge is imperfect. Empiric knowledge without surrender to the Supreme Lord is also imperfect, and fruitive work without Krishna consciousness is a waste of time. Therefore, the most highly praised form of yoga performance mentioned here is Bhakti Yoga, and this is still more clearly explained in the next verse.
Hare Krishna. Next verse 47. Yoginamapi sarvesham matkatena antaratmana shraddhama bhajate yo mam same yuktatamo mataha. And of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me, is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. Yes. Sarveshwar Jagannath Prabhu, would you like to read this book?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The word bhajate is significant here. Bhajate has its root in the verb bhaja, which is used when there is a need of service. The English word worship cannot be used in the same sense as bhaja. Worship means to adore or to show respect and honor to the worthy one. But the service with love and faith specially meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can avoid worshipping a respectable man or a demigod and may be called discourteous. But one cannot avoid serving the Supreme Lord without being thoroughly condemned. Every living entity is a part and parcel of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus every living entity is intended to serve the Supreme Lord by his own constitution. Failing to do this, he falls down. The Bhagavatam 11.5.3 confirms the following. Ya yesham purusham skad atma prabhavavam ishwaram na bhajatante aja ajananti satad bharta sa patanti adha. Everyone who does not render the service and neglects his duty unto the perennial Lord, who is the source of all living entities, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position. In this verse also, the word bhajanti is used. Therefore, bhajanti is applicable to the Supreme Lord only, whereas the word worship can be applied to demigods or for any other common living entity. The word avajanti, used in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, is also found in Bhagavad-Gita. Avajanti mam mudaha. Only the fool and the rascals derides the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Such fools take it upon themselves to write commentaries on the Bhagavad-Gita without an attitude of service to the Lord. Consequently, they cannot properly distinguish between the word bhajanti and the word worship. The culmination of all kinds of yoga practice lies in Bhakti Yoga. All other yogas are but means to come to the point of bhakti in Bhakti Yoga. Yoga actually means Bhakti Yoga. All other yogas are progression toward the destination of Bhakti Yoga. From the beginning of Karma Yoga to the end of Bhakti Yoga is a long way of self-realization. Karma Yoga without fruitive results in the beginning of this path. When Karma Yoga increases in knowledge and renunciation, this stage is called Jnana Yoga. When Jnana Yoga increases in meditation on the super soul by different physical process and the mind is on him, it is called Ashtanga Yoga. And when one surpasses the Ashtanga Yoga and comes to the point of Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, it is called Bhakti Yoga, the culmination. Actually, Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate goal. But to analyze Bhakti Yoga minutely, one has to understand these other yogas. The yogi who is a progressive is therefore to the true path of eternal good fortune. One who sticks to to a particular point and does not make further progress is called by that particular name karma yogi, jnana yogi, or dhyana yogi, or raja yogi, hatha yogi, etc. If one is fortunate enough to come to the point of bhakti yoga, it is to be understood that he has surpassed all the yoga. Therefore, to become Krishna consciousness is the highest stage of yoga. Just as when we speak of Himalayan, we refer to the world's highest mountain, of which the highest peak, Mount Everest, is considered to be the culmination. It is by a great fortune that one comes to the Krishna consciousness on the path of Bhakti Yoga to become well situated according to the Vedic direction. The ideal yogi concentrates his attention on Krishna, who is called Shyama who is the beautiful colored as a cloud, whose lotus-like face is like if effulgent as the sun, whose dress is brilliant with jewel, and whose body is flower garland, illuminating all sides his gorgeous luster, which is called the Brahma Jyoti. He incarnates in different forms such as Rama, Narsimha, Varaha, Krishna, and Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in a sense like a human being as the son of Mother Yashoda. He is known as Krishna, Govinda, and Vasudeva. He is the perfect child, husband, friend, and master. He is, he is full with all opulences and transcendental qualities. If one remains fully conscious of these features of the Lord, he is called the highest yogi. His stage of highest perfection in yoga can be attained only by bhakti yoga, as is confirmed in all Vedic literature. Yasya deva para bhakti yatha deva tatha guru तस्यति तथा तथैता ये अर्था prakashante mahatmaha. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of the Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. Shvetavastra Upanishad 6.23. Bhaktir asya brahm bhajaman tada iham mutropadhi. I cannot read this, Prabhu. It's too big. Bhakti means devotional services to the Lord, which is free from desires of material profits, either in this life or to the next. Devoid of such inclination, one should fully absorb the minds of Supreme. That is the purpose of Naiskish Karma. Gopala Tapaniti Upanishad 1.15. These are some of the means of performance of bhakti or Krishna consciousness, the highest perfectional stage of the yoga system. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purpose of sixth chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad-Gita in the matter of Dhyana Yoga. Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So, just a last topic in summary, have a look at it. So, the yoga ladder is explained in these chapters. In the purport, also, Srila Prabhupada points out to that. So, what is that yoga ladder can be understood from this line diagram. It's very easy to understand. So, it starts with animal life, and then one eventually comes to karma kanda, which means acceptance of scriptures, following rules and regulations. Then from karma kanda, one comes to karma yoga. Then from karma yoga, advances to jnana yoga, eventually to ashtanga yoga. From jnana yoga or ashtanga yoga, one can come to Brahman realization. From ashtanga yoga, one can also come to Paramatma realization. Right? They're both impersonal realization of the Supreme Absolute. And then from there, eventually, from Paramatma realization, one can take to Bhakti Yoga and come to Bhagavan realization. So this is a step-by-step ascending journey of a living entity in human form of life. That is explained in the 6 chapters, the yoga ladder. However, this is the staircase. Like Shilpara says, one can go to the top floor using the staircase. So this is the staircase method. And then there is another method, which is you take to the elevator. And what is that? In any of these levels, if one comes across to association of devotees, then one can directly take to Bhakti Yoga. Even from the lowest stage, one can come into association of devotees and take to Bhakti Yoga and make progress eventually. Sakam karma, nishkam karma, all will come on the way, finally to Ananya Bhakti, which is pure devotional service. Fine. So we'll stop here. Any questions or comments? Last few minutes we have.
Prabhuji, may I? Prabhuji, I mean, my question is not related to today's lecture. Can I ask you that question, please?
Okay.
A person is born in Brahmin family, and then a person who takes Diksha from the Pariparan disciplic succession, after taking Harinam Diksha, he takes a Brahman Diksha. What would be the major difference between the two?
That person is already born in a Brahmin family.
Right.
But has that person gone through Dvija Sanskar?
Right. The Upnanam is done.
Upnayana is done, but from whom?
I mean, traditionally from the gurus of that particular family.
Correct. So when that Upanayana is done traditionally from that guru of that family, so that guru, while doing Upanayana, has given some mantra or not?
Yes.
What is that mantra?
No, I mean that's not in my case. I'm just asking as a question.
Now, what happened? What should be done in that case?
You should recite it, and you should also do the sandhya.
Yeah, so mantra should be given, right?
Right.
Now, if a person gets the mantra and doesn't do sandhya, then will you call that person a Brahmin?
No.
So most of the people are like that only. They might have traditionally gone through a ceremony. That's all. So that ceremony happened. But what after that? What about the sandhya? How many people do it? They may have the thread around their shoulder, but how many of they do three sandhya? So if you don't do three sandhya, then your Brahmanatvam is lost. It's not that, okay, I gained it, I cannot lose it. You can lose it also. What to speak of losing it in that sense? You take Brahman Diksha in iskcon and you don't do your Gayatri, you will lose that Brahmanatva also.
Right, Prabhuji.
So it's a state which has to be maintained. It's not that I have an adhikar on it. If I don't maintain it, I'm going to always be like that. It's like simple example. You have taken sannyas. You stop following the vows of a sannyasi. Will you still remain a sannyasi?
No.
You lose that. So it's a state which is to be maintained. If you don't maintain it, then you have lost it. Then you have to take Diksha again. Even in iskcon, let's say if you have taken Gayatri Diksha and for 3 days you miss your Gayatri, you'll have to take Gayatri Diksha again.
Oh,
That's why if you cannot do Gayatri properly, don't take Brahman Diksha.
okay, Prabhuji.
Because Gayatri needs time. It's not that I can do Gayatri at any time. There is a specific time period when you should do Gayatri. So if you cannot do it, don't take Brahman Diksha. Sometimes we are too eager to take Brahman Diksha. But then it's not about just getting the thread around us, It's about following that Three Sandhya rule also. And Three Sandhya means it should be done at the time of Sandhya Kal. Not that I'm doing my Gayatri at 2 a.m. in the midnight, or I'm doing my Gayatri at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Then I'm doing my Gayatri at 9 p.m. at night. That is all not correct. So if we have taken Gayatri Diksha, we should do Gayatri in the proper time period. What is that time period? Whatever is the sunrise time, noon time, and sunset time. Either 24 means the time period is 24 minutes before from that moment to 24 minutes after that moment. That means there is a 48-minute slot. Within that 48 minute, you should do your Gayatri. So if the sunrise is happening at 6 a.m. in the morning, so 24 minutes before 6 a.m. that slot will begin. Until 6:24 that slot will remain. So within that slot, you have to do your morning Gayatri. Therefore, Brahmin means who is disciplined. Disciplined in time also. Now, if we cannot maintain all that discipline and we still want to take Brahmin Diksha or Gayatri Diksha, then we are not going to follow that rule properly.
But Prabhuji, for people who are working, who have taken up job, how is it possible to do it in the afternoon or sometimes also in the evening?
That's why don't take Brahmin Diksha.
So, I mean, one should not take Brahman Diksha and do this aparadh. It's better not to take Brahman Diksha.
And don't take, no. If you cannot follow, then why take? Like it's like simple. I tell you, you take sannyas, and then you say, I cannot follow sannyas, and still I tell you, take sannyas. What should you do?
Do not take sannyas.
So why are we so eager for Gayatri Diksha and not so eager for sannyas? We
Got
should
it, Prabhuji.
be very eager for sannyas also then, right? Isn't it? It's not that we should not take Gayatri Diksha. We can, but the thing is, at the same time, one should know the seriousness of it and the discipline it requires. That's the main point. If you are ready to pay that price, you should take Brahmin Diksha, no problem. Now, the interesting point which you raised, how can a working person follow all this? Why not Muslims? They are also working, but they do their namaz on their time if they want to. They do on time, very much on time. Even if they are having a meeting, during the meeting they'll do their namaz, but they will do it. So that if you are not following that rule, then that Vishnu Gayatri is lost. It's very simple. You have missed your Gayatri 3 times, you have lost it. Therefore, one has to be a little disciplined that you have a check on time and you can follow it on time. Sometimes it may happen a little bit below or above the timing, then you compensate for it. But if it's too irregular, then that means you're not qualified for it. You should not take that.
Right. Right, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Prabhu, this is a very unrelated question, but I'm just a little curious to know a little bit more about this timing. Does it depend on which, like, country you're in? Like, for example, where I'm from here in Denmark, we have sunrise at 7:51 in the morning now because it's winter, and slowly, slowly it gets worse. And sometimes we have sunrise at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:30. So then, then, does Gayatri also have to then follow that period, or is it?
Srila Prabhupada, he did something very interesting. He said that because you may not really be so cautious about the timings, and you may not even know what is the sunrise time every day, sunset time every day. So he made a rule, you follow 6-12-6. Wherever you are, whichever day it is, wherever you go, you follow that 6-12-6.
Okay.
Give that. But then at the same time, we should know that the best is what? The best is to do it during that time period, which is Sandhya Kal. That's the best. If that is not to, cannot be done, then I follow something like 6-12-6 or 5:30, 12, 7, 6:30, whatever. But this is not allowed that someday I got up at 4, so I'm doing Gayatri at 4, then someday I got up at 7, then I'm doing Gayatri at 7. Then someday I missed my Gayatri only, then I'm doing at 10 a.m. You know. So then that means you are not disciplined at all. If that discipline is not there, then that is one very important quality of a Brahmana, to be disciplined. Right? So then that is not correct.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, a related question regarding Brahman Diksha. So, like I am also aspiring for Brahman Diksha, but uh, the Brahman Diksha happened in June this year, and my name was there for it, but I didn't take it this time because I just wanted that I want to do Bhakti-sastri course. First, I should complete that and then I should go for it. As I'm in a Dedi cooking service in Dedi kitchen. So my seniors were saying that if you are in cooking seva, then it will be compulsory that if you have taken Brahman Diksha, only then you can do that seva. So, is it okay to take time? I really wanted that I should take time and complete my course, and then with proper rules and regulation, I should go for that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is like कि everybody is saying कि opportunity मिल रही थी, but you didn't take that. But
An opportunity again in future also.
yes, Prabhuji, yes. And some household liabilities are also there, like I'm in a joint family, and I just wanted that I should give proper time to my sadhana and then go for it.
Yeah, that's fine. Opportunity will come again. No problem.
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay. Thank you so much.
If you become qualified, then opportunities will come again and again. That's not going to be missing. It will always be there. If you're not qualified, then yeah, someday you are lucky you get the opportunity. If you're not lucky, you don't get the opportunity. If you're not qualified. If you're qualified, then opportunity will always be there.
Yes, Prabhuji. Right. Thank you.
It's just like I'll give an example and then we'll end. If there is a temple and no qualified pujari is there, so if you are lucky, you may get a chance to do the puja because there's no one qualified there and you are there, so you got a chance. But as soon as someone qualified comes there, then you will be removed from that job, no, because you're not qualified for it.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So if you are not qualified for something and you're getting an opportunity, you should know that opportunity will not last long.
Okay.
because you're not qualified for it. So someday you'll be removed also from there. You are just put there because there's an emergency. So you're being
Yes, yes.
used in that situation. No one there, so you become the person in charge or responsible. But then if you get a more qualified person, then you have to step back. And that's why it's better to be qualified and then be in a situation than to be just unqualified and be there.
But that opportunity also we can take it as Krishna's mercy that we are getting the seva and
We can do no
but,
problem,
but
but yeah, we can do it. At the same time, if you're not qualified, then you may do some mistakes, some offenses. That problem
yes,
is
yes.
also. It's just like, again, give you an example. If there's no one qualified to take sannyas and no one tells you, please do take sannyas. So what will you say? Yes, no one qualified. I'm getting a chance. Let me take. No, right? You won't say that, is it?
Right, right.
Like that.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, so we stop here. Thank you very much, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.